nor do they understand that this fascination with the internet is deliberate, and that there's never been such an easy way to spy on the public as the internet now. The phone couldn't do it, TV couldn't do it, telephone couldn't do it. Nothing is as pervasive because the excitement that people find in going to the internet, Googling, seeming like all this stuff is free, when in fact it's what's happening in the background that they don't know about. And so that's the intent of the internet, is to make it a magical device for people to come to it. Don't even stop to think about what's happening in the background. Just enjoy
so the
it.
globalists get a database and a psychological algorithm on each individual in the country and can gauge things with predictive programs. We'll talk about it when we come back. The establishment intended to get you addicted to the internet. We've always pointed that out. And then used it as the worldwide wiretap. That's what the NSA 30 years ago called it as they developed it. The worldwide wiretap. But we can use it against them if people are aware of this. The fact is they're accelerating their program of control now because they're really getting concerned. Do you agree with that statement, John Young?
I do.
Now, you got into something very deep, which they admit but isn't popularly known, that, in fact, I have an article, cell phones show human movement predictable 93% of the time. Just off tracking our cell phones in England and the U.S. where we move, they learn what we do as an individual. I mean, this is literally what Isaac Asimov wrote about in his Foundation series, where a mathematician comes up with computers that can predict mass movements of people 99% of the time.
Correct.
Your comments, sir.
Well, for example, in the case of Google, everything you search for becomes part of the data, and they can track you just like the cell phone is tracked. They can tell where you're going, what your tastes are, what your health interest is, what your sex interest is, what your business interest is, where you bank. So just using Google alone, and there are dozens of these sites like that that are gathering this data. And so that the cell phone tracks you geophysically, and the internet tracks you digitally.
And with RF,
if you use Skype, if you use any of the internet-related services like the telephone and others that are coming online are very popular, they even use that to also track your telephone calls and who you're calling. So, and by the way, the government has admitted that they spy on these social media sites like MySpace, Facebook, and Twitter. So they've already admitted that. Thing is, what they won't tell us is, well, what are they doing with the data? Now, the key to all this is they always justify this as we're doing this to fight the criminals and the terrorists. Thing is, they overreach. They use that as just an opening gambit, and they expand it to watch people who are not criminals, who are not terrorists. And so that's what we have to make a distinction is that they always argue that we're doing this to protect the public. Thing is that they don't need to spy on us this much to protect the public. They overreach.
Well, more than that, we got the Homeland Security documents. The whole Homeland Security system set up for the American people. They admit that internally. Governor Ridge admitted the terror alerts were fake for political gain. This whole thing is aimed at the people.
Yes. As you well know from the years you've been working on this, is the biggest threat to government are their own citizens in all countries. They never say that, but that's the biggest threat. And so that is the reason that they hide behind the term national security. That's just a device to get more money to actually protect government from its own citizens. I know this is a bitter pill to swallow, but I think we have to get serious about how this actually works and not buy into all the spin that's put out about external enemies.
Well, we know that the NSA grid, the government in every case has to run drills of the exact attack they're going to run when they stage terror so that other people in government who aren't part of the inside job don't bust their operation. And in every case, Sybil Edmonds, everybody else, hears al-Qaeda working for the CIA on the day of 9/11, and she's gagged. So in every case where they know the underwear bomber's getting on the plane, they're going to stop him. The CIA tells the State Department, help him get on the plane.
Yep. The other aspect of it that I find intriguing, since one of the things we have to deal with is being stigmatized, called a conspiracy nut. They use all these demeaning terms to anyone who probes too much. You just got to look past that. Those are just standard techniques to suppress your views. You've got to keep digging, keep looking, stop trusting authority, and keep digging on your own. That's what we advocate. We run our site as a library, not as a blog, not as a leak site. It's actually a library of information. 90% of our documents are not controversial, but they're highly informative about how government works. And you just got to do a lot of educational work and not be seduced by headline stuff.
Yeah, Cryptome.org is so great because you're just reading the documents and you make your own decision about them.
That's right. That's the key. Make your own decision.
Like Operation.
That is scary to people in authority.
Like Operation Northwoods. When we come back in the final segment we've got with you, I want to talk about how we support Cryptome.org, but also, I remember Google 4 years ago saying they're going to use cameras and microphones to watch you in your house with computers recording keyword. Now we learn all over the country, not just in Philadelphia, but they have school people going on PBS and just calmly showing the news how they watch kids in the school, out of the school. So, like we're cattle, they're just domesticating us, introducing this to everyone. Cryptome.org is the key website. Check it out, support it. We see Cryptome, we see WikiLeaks, we see Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, all being censored all over the world in different ways. Why is that? We'll be back. Sunday, I noticed that Glenn Beck was in USA Today on the cover of USA Weekend. We'll put it on screen right now for PrisonPlanet.tv viewers. It's up on PrisonPlanet.com. Beck's failure to retract global warming advocacy provokes online firestorm. He's going on air saying he believes it. You Beck supporters thought I was lying that he was in USA Today? Huh. But we don't lie here. Sometimes we get stuff wrong. Okay. Let's go back to John Young of Cryptome.org. I was talking about spy cams there and the fact that they're just, yes, we're watching your kids at home through the cameras. What's the big deal? And now if we think your husband's history means he might hit you, not that he's ever even hit you, you're going to wear ankle bracelets. It's all this predictive pre-crime. And they're putting brain scanners in airports saying it can tell if you're angry. A bunch of quackery to sell tyranny, worse than the lie detector that's been discredited. Comments on that, sir?
Well, I think that one of the things that's hard to grasp is how much of high technology is being used against the public interest. Even as it's spun out, being on for our protection and for our pleasure, how much of it is being used to track us? For example, most digital cameras can be intercepted. Even though they're being run by your computer, they emit electromagnetic magnetic waves that can be intercepted by someone in the next room or across the street. And so one of the devilish things about these wonderful inventions of high technology is that they all leak information about you to someone who has the right equipment.
Are you worried, because I've seen a lot of cases of this, the Internet's perfect to frame people. Government doesn't have to bury a pipe bomb on your back 40 like they do in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Now they just claim you visited some illegal porn sites, or they claim you were investigating how to build bombs. I've seen a lot of evidence of them framing people.
That's correct. They can make a compelling case, and we actually read court transcripts of testimony of the prosecution's expert witnesses and watch them fudge the truth about what they're getting by electronic means. But they put on very impressive shows. In fact, some of the best people at putting on these shows are themselves not technologists and who don't understand the technology very well, but they know what jurors like to hear. So these are actually people who blow smoke at juries, because we've seen testimony by the actual technicians who freely admit how many mistakes they make. But the spokesperson from the FBI never admits to making mistakes.
And they win over 90% of their cases. Well, the good news here is Microsoft backed up. This gave them a big black eye. Why did they think that they could shut you down and get away with it?
That's a good question. I'm going to have to work on that one, Alex, because we did not expect it to happen, and we're going to try to find out how to take advantage of that unexpected. They may have done it just for PR purposes, in order to not have to go to court and explain how more extensive it is than just our one little case. We happen to know they send out thousands of these notices per week, like we got, and get away with it, and they never have to defend it in court. They just bluff people into obeying. So I think they thought this bluff would work, and we decided to test that and let them to take us to court. We was hoping to go to court.
Yeah, we've had some of these, and I don't usually make a big deal out of it. I just file in federal court against it. We had our YouTube channel taken down, and I just went and did the federal filing. And then it went back up because it is a bluff. It is a fraud. I mean, we're allowed to play a 1-minute clip of Michael Reagan saying, murder 9/11 truthers, I will give you weapons, I will give you bullets, I will give you money, kill Mark Dice. We're allowed to play a clip of him and say, look at this criminal saying murder us. And that's fair use, and that's the end of it.
Yep. And so, again, that's the power of having a platform to speak as a business, an impressive sounding business, that you can just bluff people.